The voice of sharing, durian ASEAN.
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hello and welcome back to Durian ASEAN. You're with Gowri today, and I'm here to bring you more news from all over Southeast Asia on our ASEAN Daily segment. And today is a Thursday. I hope all of you are having a good day, and if you're going to work, good luck and hang in there, because it's only one more day to Friday, and then there comes the weekends. And to kick off our news commentary for today, we have a very shocking news of the U.S. ambassador being attacked in South Korea. And the ambassador, whose name is Mark Lippert, was injured in an attack by a razor-wielding assailant on Thursday. And police and television reports were covering the news all over the country. And it seems that the man with the razor blade concealed in his right hand attacked Mark Lippert while he was attending a breakfast function in central Seoul. And the police have narrowed down to the motive that this assailant was not too happy about the intervention of U.S. in certain countries, and also with he was actually crying out saying he's anti-war, and shouted a few other slogans as well as he lashed out at the ambassador. And this ambassador is quite new to South Korea as well. He only took up his post in Seoul last October. And United States and South Korea do actually have a good relationship, and they launched an annual joint military exercises just earlier this week, while it triggered attention in North Korea. So there's kind of a lot going on there at the same time. You have one person who is anti-war attacking the ambassador, who did not even come up with the whole policy. And then you also have United States and South Korea coming together and doing some joint military exercises together, and that's also kind of intimidating North Korea. And we also know that Kim Jong-un has come up earlier this week to warn South Korea about a potential war, and he said that he is not scared and he will go ahead and do it if he feels like it's necessary. And Mark Lippert, who is 42 years old, was taken to the hospital, but it seems that he's doing fine and there's nothing to really worry about. And moving on to Myanmar, we have Myanmar protesters who are defying orders to disperse. So as you may or may not already know, there are students protesting in Myanmar against their new law that's happening in the country. New education law, to be specific. And it seems that about 200 of these young activists, mostly wearing some kind of a bandanas with a peacock symbol, saying that we are unified. And this group was actually also joined by a dozen monks. They have been tightly encircled by security forces since Monday. The police have actually been dispatched to the scene and to sort of curb the protests from getting any bigger or spreading anywhere else. Of course, the authorities are not too happy about the students coming together, but it seems like they are quite strong and also quite adamant about this rally that's happening. And they said the police are blocking our way, but we will not move from here until we get our demands. And the situation also got really tense because they had a deadline where they had to disperse by 4 p.m., but they just ignored it and carried on with the rally. So why this rally is important, we can look at it probably from a few angles. First of all, when it comes to the students themselves, it's great to know that they know what their rights are in the country, and when they're not happy about the new education bill, they're actually speaking up despite being warned by the authorities. Of course, I'm not encouraging anyone to break the law here, but if you're not happy about something, you have every right to stand up and speak up and hold a peaceful demonstration to show the authorities in charge about what you're not happy. And also for the students themselves, they're actually quite brave to come up and to do this. Even back in Malaysia, in our home country, we had a similar rally going on when with the UM8 when the students were arrested for attending a talk on by Anwar Ibrahim, and the students actually got together to protest and to fight for it. And we see a parallel situation here with what's happening in Myanmar, that the students are coming together to talk about it, and it seems that they are awaiting deliberations from the parliament, which is actually rethinking the controversial education bill, which the students feel is very undemocratic. So it's great that their rally is actually producing an impact, and the parliament is actually reconsidering this whole new education bill that they are about to pass. So good luck to all the students in Myanmar. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, we have IMF coming in to tell Putrajaya to hike the GST in order to cut oil dependency. And what they're saying is that Malaysia should just gradually hike its GST in the future over the years, and also reduce the number of exempt and zero-rated items according to the suggestion by IMF. So just to give a little explanation, zero-rated items are the goods and services sold by certain companies which are actually free from GST, and no GST will be charged to these goods or services that are being produced, and this is called the zero-rated supply. Some example would be agricultural products, or it can be eggs or fish, essential foodstuff like oil, salt, or flour, and also the first 200 units of electricity for domestic use. And some others are also exported services, exported goods, and services in Malaysia like pilotage, towage service, as well as international services of, like, for example, transport of goods or passengers from one place in Malaysia to outside of Malaysia. And of course, that's not the full list. It's just to give you a few examples. So if you want to learn more about that, you can always Google and find out. And going back to the issue here, it seems that the international financial body, fewer exemptions in the GST would help to tax authorities to compile more information. And IMF thinks that Malaysia's consumption tax is actually the lowest in the region, compared to 7% in Singapore and Thailand, 10% elsewhere in Asia. And I think IMF is also forgetting that we are not as well off as maybe we are projecting ourselves to be, because to compare us with countries like Singapore, which is way ahead economically, and we are just starting to implement the GST as well. So it's not fair to just right now we're starting at a 4.75%, and it's not fair to just start charging about 7 to 10% for people who are even still not sure what GST is about or how it even works in the first place. And in January, World Bank economist Dr. Federico Gilsander had also suggested that Malaysia should shorten its list of goods, and saying that it is to broaden its tax, and this will help in the revenue of the country. So this is of course a suggestion by IMF, but we are still just starting to implement GST on the 1st of April, and will probably not consider this suggestion right now. And so far we have about 900 items that are in the zero-rated or exempted from the consumption tax system, and hopefully it stays that way, and do not burden the people with a high tax rates, because we know that not everyone is well off in this country. There's always the elite group, the middle class group, and there are still people who are homeless, and they are stuck in poverty, and therefore it's important to be considerate to every class of people. And we are gonna take a short break. When I return, I'll give you more news from all over Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hello and welcome back to Duran ASEAN. You're still with me, Gowri, and I'm here on our ASEAN Daily segment to bring you more news from all over Southeast Asia and other important headlines as well. So to continue with our news, this morning we are going to Vietnam for a bit. It seems that they are observing their 50th anniversary of Vietnam. And this is actually to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the arrival of combat troops in Vietnam. And this is actually a Vietnam Veteran Recognition Day. And it will be held on March 7, 11 a.m. at the Georgia National Cemetery in Canton. And why is this so important for the Viets, especially for the Vietnamese people? It's important for them to remember the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, and also to let veterans know that the American people actually appreciate their service and sacrifice for the nation, and to let them know why they are not forgotten. And for the Vietnam veterans themselves, they are not only hurting due to what they actually endured in Vietnam, but for the way they were also treated by the American people when they were returned home. But of course, this is not to criticize America, to pass any blame here, but it's always important to remember our history, and this is just a part of that, to have a celebration to commemorate everything that they have gone through, for all that they have suffered, and now it seems that they are gonna have an anniversary to remember. And they're gonna have some speakers as well, some Vietnam veteran speakers at the ceremony, and some of them will be Americans as well. Captain Donna Rowe, who is an U.S. Army nurse representing all the women who served in Vietnam. And a few other army pilot representing the support in Vietnam as well. And those who are invited, everyone who is actually wanting to support the veterans can actually go for the event. And this, in some of these Vietnam veterans have experienced almost a lifetime of suffering from the effects of Agent Orange, which was a pesticide used to destroy foliage and crops. So it's a great event. If for all the Vietnamese out there, go and show your support to the war veterans who have done a lot and sacrificed a huge deal for the country. And moving on to Indonesia, where Jokowi has urged everyone of even his own government to implement action plan on women's protection. And women's protection is something that is being talked a lot right now in Indonesia, especially even when Jokowi first won the election back in February as well. He mentioned a few plans and promises about realizing women's protection. And of course, this also came in the wake of the virginity tests that were conducted on female students who were in schools. And the women have now stepped up to call for him to actually carry on with the plan and to keep all the promises that he has made. And what they want here, what they are actually demanding, is for non-discriminatory laws for the women in the country, because as of now they are still not being given enough opportunity, or probably equal opportunity as their male counterparts, in terms of participating in politics, or even in terms of employment as civil servants and whatnot. And therefore Indonesia is now preparing for the implementation of a national action plan on women and also children protection and empowerment especially in conflict-prone areas, according to the RI official on Wednesday, which was yesterday. And this action plan will be focused on boosting women's participation in halting, handling, and recovering from the impacts of conflicts, and also to promote peace and preserve it within the families and communities. But of course, it doesn't just stop within the family and community. They are also demanding for the government's promise to give them full protection, like I mentioned earlier, through their non-discriminatory laws and also some legal changes as well. And Valentina Sagala actually, she said that many discriminatory regulations that had not been dealt with are actually halting women to come up, to move forward in the ladder, whether it's in their job or whether it's in politics. And she wants that to change. She wants them to make changes not just by encouraging or empowering women, but by actually making the changes in the laws itself and in the policies that the government is making. And for example, the Jokowi administration had not yet even addressed Indonesia's maternal mortality rate, which is currently at 359 per 100,000 live birth. And they even have lots of forced marriage cases going on, especially with children who are less than 14 years old, and they pose high risk to a women's reproduction health. So there's a lot of things happening here as well when it comes to reproduction health, it comes to child marriages, when it comes to discrimination at the workplace, and also discriminatory laws that are currently in place. And they have of course called out to the president to keep his word and start implementing all these plans that he has and has not taken action yet. And moving on to the Philippines, a little bit of intimidating news where we have a new terror group rising in Mindanao. And this was said by the military of Philippines on Wednesday, and according to an official of the Armed Forces of Philippines, or also known as the AFP, at least 70 members of the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters have broken away from the bandit group to form a new faction, and they have also joined the Asian terrorist group Jamaah Islamiyah, which is also known as the JI. And Osman, this guy who is also known as the bomb maker, he is actually one of the target of the Philippines National Special Action Force, who are operating in Mama Sapano, which is of course notorious for the killing of the 44 police commandos on January 25th. So there have been reports that reveal that the BIFF does not see eye to eye with the group of Tobacco, and the government forces are also conducting an all-out offensive against the BIFF in Maguindanao and the north of Cotabato in Mindanao, southern Philippines. And this is, of course, a very scary thing to have a new terror group rising in Mindanao, as much as Philippines or any other country in this region, be it Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand. We are all trying to strike a deal with one another to boost our security defenses, to further improve our diplomatic relations, and also we are very, very concerned at the moment when it comes to security measures, especially from terrorists or from militant groups. This is of course in the wake of ISIS, where we felt like it's really important that we step up now and do something about this, because as we all know, ISIS has successfully swept into the region and influenced quite a number of people to go over and join them in what they are calling a battle. But now it seems there is a new terror group that is rising, and what's interesting about this is also the fact that people are resorting to terror group measures in order to address the discontent, because most of the time when there's a new terrorist group or new a separatist, is usually when they are not happy with what's going on in the country and they want a different platform to voice their discontent, or to sort of provide a relief for other people along the vicinity as well. So maybe they don't really have to come up with a new terror group, the government can do something about this, address the issue with the people or with any new group that is coming up, and ask them what can the government do for them as well. To have a win-win situation, to have a proper dialogue, and find out what's missing. Because if everyone keeps resorting to starting a new terror group every time they are not happy with what's happening in the country, that will not turn out well, not only for Philippines but for every other country in this region as well. It can be a very dangerous measure. Because we already have enough threat from militants and other terrorist groups in this region. We don't want to have our own now, and for that to also bloom and spread among other countries. So we're going to take another short break. When I come back, a couple of news about ASEAN.
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hello and welcome back to Duran ASEAN. You're with Gowri on our ASEAN Daily, and I'm here to bring you more news from Southeast Asia. And for this third half, we are going to focus on the Lao PM, who is in Japan to expand ties. And according to what's happened here is the Prime Minister Mr. Tong Sing has arrived in Tokyo on Wednesday for a special 4-day visit to commemorate the 60th anniversary of diplomatic relations with Japan, and also to expand the political and economic ties between the two countries. And Mr. Tong Sing is planning to hold an audience with the Emperor Akihito and a meeting with the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on Friday as well, according to the Foreign Ministry. And these two countries are trying to come together not only to strengthen their diplomatic relationship, but also to step up their economic ties, because the number of Japanese investors in Laos has doubled to about 120 late last year from the previous years before, in 2013 and 2012, and this is according to the Japanese government data, and posting real economic growth around 8% in the recent years. Laos is being called the +1 country for foreign businesses to avert their potential risk of excessively concentrating operations in Thailand and China. And it seems like, according to the statistics here, a lot of foreign businesses, when they look at the Southeast Asian region, they usually the two countries they look at is Thailand and China, and they feel like, China for obvious reasons, of course, is a huge country, powerful country, and Thailand as well, especially in line with their, although they have not been so popular for the last 1 year or so after the military coup, but they the investors still see a lot of potential in Thailand. Of course, they have a massive tourism industry there as well. As we all know, Thailand is always the place to go for quick vacations, and it's got so many beautiful islands over there. But now Laos is catching up as well to avert all the attentions from the foreign businesses who usually go to these two other countries. And apart from that, Mr. Tong Sing will also be addressing a business seminar on Thursday in Tokyo. And some of them who will be present is the chairman of the government-backed Japan External Trade Organization, and he will be briefing of Japan's activities in Laos, according to the organizers. And another thing that Japan is trying to do is to promote their ties not only with Laos but other members of ASEAN, other countries in this region, especially in terms of connectivity, trying to make it easier for all the 10 countries to connect with Japan, to communicate with Japan, since we are also trying to achieve a single economic bloc this year. And in January itself, Japan has already signed some aviation agreements with Laos and Cambodia to operate regular flights between Japan and the two countries. And this is another move by Japan to increase the connectivity between the countries, like they just said. And Japan will also be holding a summit in Tokyo with 5 other ASEAN states. And this will be happening on the 4th of July. Along the Mekong River, and which leaders are expected to craft a new strategy on how Tokyo can actually contribute to the sustainable development of a Mekong region beyond 2015. So it's very good to see Japan stepping in and being very proactive here. Signing aviation deals to make it easier for the connectivity between the countries, trying to hold a summit, and also going to the Mekong River, because that's another controversial area where, because it's so attractive and lucrative, a lot of people are trying to go there and do businesses there, and also of course the infamous dam building that we just talked about yesterday by Mega First Corporation from Malaysia. So it's good that Japan is actually concentrating on the Mekong River region and asking the countries and also the people around there to tell Tokyo how they can help and they can contribute to the sustainable development of the Mekong region beyond 2015. And of course, the 5 states that are involved in the Mekong area is Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Myanmar, and Thailand. And hopefully this will work out well. It seems like a very positive measure, and for Japan to come in and to help and contribute to this region can only work out positively to us. Or at least based on what's reported here. And hopefully the Lao PM, Mr. Tong Sing, also will manage to address whatever issues that he wants to, and have a fruitful meeting with the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe as well as the Emperor Akihito. And going back to Manila for a bit, we talked a lot about maritime issues in this region, especially with Philippines and Vietnam both having the issue with China, where China is trying to claim parts of the ocean that supposedly belongs to them, but also these two countries are coming up saying that China is actually stepping into their own territory. And it seems that ASEAN has finally spoken up, and it is backing Myanmar on this sea row. And this is something that we have waited a very, very long time to hear. So ASEAN has voiced its support for Philippines' bid for a peaceful resolution in its own territorial dispute with China. And it seems that as much as other claimant countries reject Beijing's dotted line policy, and this is because they are trying to assert their sovereignty over rocks and islands in the West Philippines in the South China Sea. And also in line with our ASEAN Economic Community that will be happening this year, this issue is very, very important, because any conflict can that arise can hold back the whole process of integration, and can also be very detrimental to whatever that we have envisioned, whatever progress that we're trying to go for, that we're trying to achieve in this region. But the ASEAN official has also noted that not only the Philippines has rejected this 9-dash line policy, but other ASEAN nations as well, which is why they're all sort of rooting for Manila now, and they are not going ahead with China's 9-dash line policy. And China is not really considered much of a threat to our regional peace here. I mean, of course, they are a big, powerful country, but we've so far managed to foster a good relationship with China. And apart from these little claims that they are making, they are not making any major threats or trying to call for a war or having missile attacks or anything. But at the same time, it's very important that we have this proper dialogue with China, and talk to the leaders who are involved and address what's happening over the years, because this is not something that only came up with Vietnam and Philippines. Even way before that, even among our region, we still had border disputes, maritime disputes, and it's about time that we start addressing all these issues, and the code of conduct that has to be adopted in relation to sea disputes. Also, that's another thing that we can observe, and the code of conduct should be passed to prevent tensions from worsening. So hopefully this is another issue that can be resolved. It's great that ASEAN has spoken up and voiced its support for Manila, and hopefully things go forward from here and we will achieve a peaceful solution soon enough. And that will be all from me today. Thank you so much for listening to our ASEAN Daily on this Thursday morning. We'll be back in a bit on our Durian Heat to discuss about the International Women's Day, so stay tuned. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the daily podcasts. And if you want to listen to us on your mobile phone, just download the TuneIn app and look for Durian ASEAN, and we will get back to you in a bit.